Good morning, good day, good evening. I'm Dice, and welcome to another Kaiju Universe dev stream. January 31st, 2026, and we have a lot to go over today. First, though, let's go ahead with introductions. As I said, I am Dice the Wizard, head developer of KU. I am joined here by Verit. Verit.
Hello.
I am joined here by Dusty.
Great to be here.
I'm joined here by Jonathan.
Hello.
And I am joined here by Jamal. Either way, for this dev stream, we've got quite a lot on the agenda. As you might have seen on the promotional material, we've got the release of the roadmap to go ahead, some character sneak peeks, a dev Q&A, much more, much more. Either way, without further ado, let us get started. Dusty, take the floor.
Thank you. All right, it's time to unveil the release dev stream. Verit, if you'd please. So this will be the following roadmap for the releases of Kaiju Universe moving forward. We will be releasing something every single week, starting with week number 1, which will be the highly anticipated release of the Rolling Kaiju. If we could pop in there, Verit. So for week 1, we'll be releasing the Rolling Kaiju. As you guys have seen, we've been teasing this quite a lot recently. It's based on the Terra Titan concept that was originally made in the Kaiju Suggestions channel by one Nensho. We hired him on, and we've been developing this character over the last couple of months. He's got a really innovative and fun rolling moveset. Makes him super fun to play with. And actually, later on in the stream, we'll be showing you him in action. But yeah, no, it's a wonderful character, and we're really excited to share that with you. The next item, Mr. Verrett.
The next item will be quite the update. It is the Renew and Reward update, where we're going to be overhauling the entirety of Kaiju Universe's UI, as well as adding in daily rewards and many more updates that have been long anticipated. Um, Many complaints over the years over people not being able to claim missions, over not being able to apply skill points in game. All of this is being completely overhauled, such that you'll be able to do all of those things and more. We're also going to be adding in smaller things such as mini maps, um, and we're not going to leak the UI now, but I hope you'll be very excited to see it.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting to have a new look for the game. Following along in week 3 will be yet another kaiju. This one is one that's definitely caught your eyes, and that's the Sky Bomber. If we could pop right into there, Verret. We really wanted to challenge ourselves with the Sky Bomber, and so we really tried to make something that was both completely unusual in appearance and gameplay. So with the Sky Bomber, we're going to be turning the skies into more than just an avenue for escape. The Sky Bomber here uses the skies as a way to long-distance bomb enemies on the ground. He has this very bizarre, otherworldly look to him. I know you guys will love him. The animations that we've been doing for this are some of our best to date. They're fantastic. And he'll be sure to really get you pumping after you get that UI change. Um, some fantastic artwork here. Moving on to week number
I
4.
believe Jamal had some screen sharing to do, if you'd like
Oh,
to show off.
yes, indeed.
Or actually, it would be the following one. My bad.
Yes. So once we go into week 4, Verrett's got something very special for you, and that will be the map revamp.
That's right. We're going to be revamping the entirety of the old map, or current map, as we probably should call it. The map has not been updated in a very long time. Besides one large update that we did recently, which was the Tokyo revamp that many of you love. Um, we wanted to bring this effectively to the rest of the map. So we're going to be bringing in new buildings. Uh, we're going to be lowering the entire seafloor, and we're going to be revamping every single island that isn't Tokyo. So Seth, I believe the next one is on you.
Absolutely. Once we go into week number 5, you're going to get something that I know you've been waiting for, and that is the long-awaited appearance of Talacrone. I know that he's been kind of hard to find these days since we teased his teaser not too long ago. If we could pop right into that slide there, Verret. On week 5, of course, you'll be getting Talacrone. He will be another wonderful addition to this live stream later when we go to the testing place to show off some of the great animations we have for these guys. For me personally, Talacrone really marks a leap forward in our animation and cinematics when we really start to go to these more interesting trailers. I remember when we released Death from Above, it was very well received, and we really enjoyed trying new things with horror and other aspects, stuff that we really carried on later on with the Rolling Kaiju teaser. I'm really happy to say that the next teaser we have in store for you in terms of the animation cinematics will definitely be our most ambitious to date. So let's look forward to that. Um, Moving back to the roadmap.
This one, I believe we have some things to show in addition.
Oh, yes. Jamal, when you're ready.
This is the model of Fishbird. A lot went into it. It's primarily mesh deformation throughout the model.
Yes, this is what we call one of our new age rigs. They've got incredible amounts of movement and personality, especially around the faces and the mouths. We've been really trying to capture mouth folds, eye movements, neck bulges, stuff like that that really allows us to give these characters lots of extra personality. Um, Fishbird in particular, it was really challenging when we went to do that Death from Above trailer and we had to have these close-ups of the face and the mouth. It's not really something we could have done on the older rigging system, and so this really is a triumph in the amazing quality of our modelers, such as Jamal. Fantastic work.
Yes, and as you can see with the design, it's got this sort of very thin, but very beautiful aspect to it. Fun fact about this design, too, is that it is one of the first art designs which we actually developed for KU back when we just started out with doing that. I'd say this is one of our prime starters for where our creative direction really went, KU.
Indeed. And you'd think that these 5 wonderful things are all you'll be getting, but you would be wrong. Mr. Vert, if you'd please.
Moving on to the second section of the
Indeed.
roadmap.
A twist. So, the very first part of week 6 will show off our NPC rampage. Yes, that's right. We are bringing NPCs to Kaiju Universe, and not like you've ever seen them before. Mr. Vert, if we could jump into that slide. So, during week 6, you will see several new unique NPC kaijus that are unique to their own environments. This is going to offer a completely new way to grind in Kaiju Universe, and we have so many interesting ideas on how we can make this an addition to make the core gameplay a lot more fun. We've been hearing you for months and months and months about how the buildings just aren't adding enough variety, and we really know we'll be able to do that with this. We're having a lot of discussions about the ways that we can have these escalate, how we can have differing levels to them. Here on display, we have one of the smallest examples of our NPC enemies, the Wormmite. Um, this is a subclass of kaiju that are very small, which we've called shouju. Um, it's a beautiful design here by our resident artist, Farron, and it's just one of the many new enemies you'll be able to encounter here in the wild in KU. Now, I believe Verret also had a fair thing to say about the programming aspect of this.
Kaiju universe for a really long time. And most of the work that we put into NPCs from the programming perspective is making it such that every single kaiju would be able to be an NPC, and that we would be able to easily transform in the same ways that we've made other kaijus. On top of this, we wanted them to have as much depth as any other kaiju.
Yes. Now, with the wormites specifically, Barrett, by the way, are you
Yes.
with the wormites specifically? Of course, they also have a place in KU's future lore, which is, of course, being built and already present. Wormites, a species of shoju, as we said, residing on various parts of the Pelagos. These lowly crawlers roam the world, burrowing through the chasms and slithering through spires like vermin, often traveling in swarms. While these type of soju are not particularly strong or ferocious, it is important that they are, of course, wiped out when spotted, as they might eventually grow to a much stronger variant, Titan wormites. Luckily, this incredibly rare, however, luckily these are, however, very rare, as these grubs are primary source of feeding for many kaijus.
Indeed, it's going to be nice to finally start to pack out the lore, not just with characters, but also environmental hyperfauna like we did with the wormite here. And of course, you'll be finding a lot of this in every single NPC character we have. Now, Mr. Verrett, if there is nothing else to say on NPCs, I think it's time we announce something that everyone has been very excited for. Week 7 is going to be something very special. I'm happy to show off our newest starter. This is Kazame. In week 7, this will be the newest starter introduced to Kaiju Universe. It has one of the most complex movesets we've ever designed for a Kaiju, not in gameplay, but in what it'll give you. It is going to be highly mobile, highly easy to play, and this will actually kickstart a series of new starters we'll be adding to the game to replace the outdated Abelcross and Malachi. Um, the amount of work that has gone into this cannot be understated, and this has been a project we've been working on for several months now. Um, we understand that the early game is the most important part of Kaiju Universe, as that's when every new player makes that decision about whether or not to stay or invest in playing the game. And we've had so many talented individuals working on this project. One of which, of course, is Mr. Jonathan, who has come here to talk about this wonderful creation.
Hello. So for this character, something that we were trying to do is set a standard for bringing back some more traditional tokusatsu style kaiju. That's something the game has been lacking for quite a while. And you may notice that he kind of looks like he could be a person in a suit. He's got a humanoid overall shape, smaller arms, big robust legs, and a scary head. So he's a kind of memorable design, and he should be quite interesting to use. As for his animations and moveset, uh, we've tried to make him possibly the most fun character that we've ever developed. Uh, and some of the ways we've been doing this is by trying to break up the flow of combat. So oftentimes in KU, you basically end up face tanking or just completely ranging. And maybe there's a little bit of in between there where you use knockback to push someone away, or perhaps you have a pulse that you can hit them with before they come into melee range. This character is meant to go in and out of melee and AoE and ranging at all times. And the way he does that is that when he attacks, he can knock off chunks of health or regen or a power up from the enemy. So these chunks will fly off in different directions. And he's got an 8 directional dash. So forward, forward, right, right, rear left, left, and forward left. And basically, what you do, if you've ever played Doom Eternal, it's a bit like that, where you can dash around having to get these pickups as they drop off of the enemy. And ideally, what this will do is it will allow you to start with range, go in for an AoE, then go in for melee. When your health starts getting low, you can dash around, get your pickups off the ground, and then switch back into whichever combat mode that you like, whether that be AoE, range, or phase tanking. But what it's fundamentally meant to do is to add rhythm to the gameplay as opposed to phase tanking and pure melee.
It's very exciting, the things that'll be coming with this kaiju. I think it's not an understatement to say that this will change the game as a whole and lead us in a new direction for how we're really going to go about making our kaijus moving forward. Um, we really do take a lot of your feedback to heart, and we believe that with Cosme here, you're really going to see that materialize into a brand new look for us and a new identity. Um,
Yes, with Kazame is he also has very dynamic and animations. He is not just a bolt upright character. He punches, slashes, bites. He's moving. He's always moving, kind of ducking, weaving, and he has some very cool attacks, particularly related to his beam, which you will see in the next few slides.
Indeed, we have a few extra wonderful renders here of Kazame. One of which will show off his fantastically posable mouth, if you will, Mr. Verrett. Yes. Um, really fantastic work, I must say. And of course, this comes from one of our newest artists, one we actually hired from the Kaiju suggestions, just like with the roller Kaiju. This artist is, of course, the wonderful Aru. Um, beautiful work, really top class. Now, moving back to the roadmap, we have another thing in store for you, and this is another thing that I know a lot of people have been asking for. Think every other week someone abruptly asks when this is coming or what's new on this, so I'm so happy that we can finally announce it once and for all. Mr. Verrett, if you would, the military update. Let's jump right in. As you know, over the past few months, and in fact over the last couple of years, we have been teasing ships, tanks, and everything else in between. Um, we really wanted to proceed with this, but we had to put a lot of work into coming up with AI, making sure AI could interact with the map properly, and we're finally starting to get to an area where we're ready to start going full on with this and going on with the attention it deserves. In the past, of course, we did have tanks. They were very primitive. This new system is going to be much more dynamic and much more involved. It'll be very akin to something like a wanted level you find in many other video games, where the proportion of the destruction you cause will correspond to the response the military gives against you, as well as the caliber of vehicles that are sent after you. Um, we have many wonderful machines here, and I'm happy to say that this really is just the tip of the iceberg for what you can expect from the military update. Um, Once again, just like with the Worm NPCs, this is going to give you a whole new way to play Kaiju Universe, a whole new way to grind, and a whole new way to experience the world as we really move into this new era that we've been working toward. Um, Before we move on, Mr. Dice, is there any remarks you'd like to make on the military? I know you've been highly involved in this project from its earliest inceptions when you and I used to fantasize about putting ships on the open sea for our game world.
That's right. When it comes to the military itself, especially with one other part that I believe we've still got in the roadmap, um, well, more so the Navy, especially, is one I am particularly excited for. If you could quickly move the slide back, Vera. As you can see here, we've got the Fletcher class on the right. We've got the light cruiser there on the left. The light cruiser, of course, will be a far more formidable military opponent. whereas in the Fletcher class will be something which you may encounter more commonly. Now I see that both images here have the title Fletcher class, though
Which
of
was it
course.
was a funny occurrence that happened back in the day. As a matter of fact, one of these is a flower class Corvette, um, which a lot of you were very keen to point out back in the day. It was very regrettable that whoever wasn't responsible for making those teasers, whoever that person may be, was missing the name there. But indeed, the smallest class of our ship will be the wonderful flower class, a very short and stubby ship with lots of variations, as Dice was hinting on. The battleships you see now are not the only way you receive them. Much like we described with the military, there will be a proportional response to the amount of damage you do, which can change the orientation of the ships. Uh, let's just say that the Navy has ways to deal with every kind of threat, whether that be land, sea, or air, um, with many interesting things along the way.
Someone else who I believe wants a quick word on this, of course, Vera.
So, something big about the original release of military tanks was that people found them annoying. And we wanted to largely rethink how we actually use the military, in that the military likely shouldn't attack just anyone, right? I mean, realistically, the military would probably attack any kaiju that showed up, but we wanted to make it much more interesting than that. And effectively, what we're devising is something you've seen in plenty of games, but it's probably most prevalent in GTA, which is wanted levels, where the more buildings and the more chaos you wreak as a kaiju, the more strong of a military response you'll get, up to a point where you might get something that you'll see on week 10.
Indeed. Uh, the military update obviously is really exciting, and obviously at this point, you're probably saying to yourself, you know, I've seen everything they have to show. They got 2 more weeks left. There's nothing else they can really pull out. And I've been reading the chat and I've been seeing your words, and I'm very pleased to announce that in week 9, Barrett, we will be releasing the first replacement character. As you know, a few months back, we announced that we would select 10 of Kaiju Universe's original character roster and redesign them with all new models and animation, but the same moveset that you love. And I am happy to report, after months of toiling away on models, getting things cleaned up, the first one is nearly ready for release in week number 9. Uh, at this time, that character remains to be seen, though I'm sure a few people might have a guess or two about who that might be. Um, And of course, because this character is such a closely guarded secret, you will have to forego seeing a slide for it. Now, with that in mind, there really isn't much to follow up in week 10, is there? I mean, you've got your military, you've got your character replacements, you've got your NPCs. What could we possibly offer you for week 10 to round out this amazing roadmap? Well, in week number 10, Barrett, we will be releasing boss fights to Kaiju Universe. This is going to be big. The lore implications, the game implications, everything is going to be dialed up to 10. This is going to hopefully culminate this fantastic 10 weeks of development. While I can't say too much about where the boss fights are going, I could say that we have a lot to share with you in the coming weeks as we get closer towards them. And it's going to be a very exciting time to be a Kaiju Universe fan. Mr. Dice, is there anything you'd like to add about the wonderful boss fights and replacements?
Not much, other than the fact that I am, of course, incredibly excited for this as well.
And so here we are at the end of our roadmap for today. The full roadmap, all 10 updates. It looks like there's a little frog in the bottom left. I wonder where he came from. Anywho, um, this, of course, will represent where we'll be going in the coming month. As you know, consistency is something we've been working hard towards, and we hope that this will give you a clear idea of where Kaiju Universe will be going soon. Um, I know the wait has been long, but the wait is over. Teaser Universe is officially done. Say hello to Kaiju Universe 2026. Mr. Dice, I think it's time to show everyone something special we've made.
Yes, of course. Having now talked about the roadmap and everything in it and around it, now, of course, we can go ahead and transition to some wonderful gameplay. Of course, played by our lovely modeler, Jamal.
It seems we're unfortunately not going to get in-game audio. That is my bad. But
A bit of a shame, but either way, I think looking at this, this is the rolling kaiju, which of course we've been teasing for quite some time. Now, as you might realize, we have been calling it the rolling kaiju a lot. That will not be the actual in-game name, of course, for it inside of KU. It is simply a code name, and well, at some point in the near future, probably be learning a bit more about his real name and perhaps a bit more about his story and lore, the universe of KU on the Pelagos.
I should note that obviously all of this is in development, so not anything you see here is going to be final, especially balancing.
Jamal, if you could use the attack 5, I think that's quite a cool move. So this character is actually able to store status effects and multiply them. So, for example, if he's hit with a ice type attack or an attack that induces the ice status effect, he in his V ability overcharge can then multiply that up to I believe ice 3 or 4, and then his next hit will inflict that status effect. He's also able to generate 2 status effects on his own, freezing and fire. They're activated by using the roars, and many of his attacks revolve around closing distance to characters, with the attack 5 being our first homing attack. So that attack will actually, uh, it's not a dash, it actually auto homes on to the last enemy that you hit, and it's quite interesting to use to close distances, especially on flyers, which is quite fun. Um, and attack 4 is more of a combo dash. But I'd recommend using the attack 5 on flyers. It's quite fun. You'll see.
Jamal, if you wanted to transition into showing uh, the other kaiju that we were speaking about, that isn't in the roadmap, and perhaps we can show a little meme that we had made.
You can see here, Jamal is streaming another beautiful model. Feel free to show it. Here we've got the now called Venus Flytrap Kaiju. This incredibly beautiful design is, of course, only elevated by some lovely modeling by yours truly, Jamal, or yours truly, by Jamal here. So in this stream, as you can see, it's got several interesting aspects about it. Aside from just the dynamic and cool looking plant armor, it's got this weird looking face and a Venus flytrap on top of its neck. Aside from that, it's also got a beautiful and weird looking tail, which might hold some interesting moveset capabilities. You'll learn more about that in the future. Jamal wanted me to specifically mention how this model specifically is her pride. And it's only to be understood. Incredibly beautiful work here, Jamal. Now look at that. As you can see, it's got a beautiful pattern inside of the Venus flytrap as well. This model doesn't just look good, but it does tricks too. Look at that tail. What's that going to do?
Indeed, like we said earlier with Talacrone, these models are going to have a high range of posability and motion, higher than anything you've ever seen in Kaiju Universe before. This is part of our new advanced rigging system and the amazing sculpt work of sculptors such as Jamal. Um, it's fantastic work. It's true artistry.
Let's also just take a look at the texturing here. Jamal, perhaps a zoom in. Look at that. Very well. Thank you, Jamal, for showing us this model. Beautifully crafted.
I think it's all too poetic that we have Jamal showing this beautiful creature here. As you recall, it was only not too long ago that we had another plant kaiju on a stream like this being shown from Jamal. Very poetic,
Unfortunately.
and I'm sure that poetry isn't far-reaching whatsoever. I believe, Mr. Dice, we shall transition into the next period.
Yes. Now, for our final thing here, we'll of course be having a quick little Q&A, in which we'll be answering some of the questions which you have, of course, been dying to ask us.
And shall we direct everyone on where
Find
to put their questions? Mr. Dice?
Q&A channel in the Kaiju Universe Discord for those of you who are in it. We'll also be answering, obviously, questions from any of the chats that pop up.
I'll take the lead here. So the first one is, will NPC kaijus be playable? Now, technically, from a very technical perspective, they are, though if they'll be made available to the public, it definitely remains to be seen. The main function that these NPCs have is that unlike the current NPCs we have, similar to in the tutorial, these ones are incredibly lag-proof. They're efficiently modeled, they are incredibly streamlined, and that's their primary purpose. We can have multitudes of them in the game level without causing much lag.
Somebody asked how many kaijus would be being added in this roadmap. That is 5 to 6 kaijus over the next 10 weeks. Meaning, yeah, the first week, the rolling kaiju will be coming out this week, or rather in the next 7 days.
I see a question from Epic. He's asking if the tanks are going to make grinding buildings annoying. We're going to make sure that when we do the military rollout, that it's very much more so available to people that are trying to gravitate toward it rather than hurting people like low-level grinders. It'll be very much something that you initiate in your own interest, and there'll be many of ways to handle it beyond just fighting. It's a very dynamic system. Here's one, Mr. Verde, I think you'd love to answer. Kay asks, when will the weekly updates begin?
That is this week. Well, as I said, next 7 days. So, Sunday to Sunday week.
I see that Cleric Muto asks, can we get, and then the screen goes completely statically, and I can't read what that says. But I'm sure whatever it says, it's coming soon. The next question is, how big will the map revamp be, Mr. Verrett?
The map revamp is going to be revamping every single island in the current map except for Tokyo. Effectively, if you remember the Tokyo revamp from a number of months ago, it's bringing that to the rest of the map. We're redesigning. If I go back quite a few slides, this is going to be a while. We're taking from old ideas such as the Isla de Mara revamp that we had, which was effectively redesigning Isla de Mara. We're taking from that. We're also going to every single island. We're going to have things like Arctic cities to help make it more exciting. We're going to be having things like Florida is going to be renamed and completely redone and largely expanded. Places in the map, such as the Mariana Trench, are going to be much more interesting. Places like Promethea Island are going to probably be renamed and completely redone. Effectively, we're going to be looking at all the places that work really well on the map and enlightening those and redoing the places in the map that don't work. So everyone basically can get a really good roundabout, effectively expanding the hotspots inside of the game. I had to put it that way.
I see,
So
oh, Mr. Dice?
I've got a very interesting question for you, actually, here, Dusty. How do you
Oh,
guys go about making sure kaiju designs don't blend together and get stale? By Mecha Gator 05.
thank you for the question, Metagator. Um, when we're coming around to kaiju design, I think a really important thing is giving our artists lots of freedom. Our art department is pretty expansive these days, and while a lot of the times I do try to be, a bit strict about an idea we try to implement, we also do have a very high degree of letting artists really try ideas that they have for kaiju designs and trying unique things. As we displayed during this stream, two artists that are having their kaijus added through this roadmap are actually artists we pulled from the original kaiju suggestions. And I think it's fantastic when we can pull people from there. They always have tons of ideas for things that we've never even considered before. Um, I hope that answers your question. I saw another person asked, will we ever receive any other remodels for kaijus? I see there's a pretty pronounced amount of people asking for remodels of characters like Vargoth. This was actually something I answered in dev questions not too long ago. These are certainly characters that we're interested in exploring free remodels later down the line. Um, I think at some point the characters that we want to see remade, the characters you want to see remade, have a pretty high level of overlap, and that's definitely something we might be exploring sooner than expected. But that's all I can say on that.
Miguel asked, will we be getting a boss kaiju that isn't a playable character? Yes, definitely. There will be. I can name 2 currently that will not be playable characters, but they will be bosses.
I see a question here. What is the mysterious replacement? My answer to that would be good question. It wouldn't be much of a mysterious replacement if we told you now, would it?
Indeed, and we best not get dredged up on such things. Will the flight system see improvements, Mr. Verrett?
I can't promise it in this specific roadmap, but that is definitely something that we want to look into improving in the future. So that's something that we've gradually improved a lot. We actually initially had a lot of improvements in the current flight system. We actually have stuff like momentum, so on, built into the flight system. It's just disabled because everybody wants cinematic momentum until they're actually playing with cinematic momentum, and they hate it. So like the acceleration, I think, is like 2 million in the config value. It's definitely something that we need to look into and balance more.
I got another one for you, Verrett. Shieldman asks, when the Manila EX replacement comes out, will the players get to keep their levels?
That's a good question. I can't speak on that now.
I think that one's gonna have to be a surprise. Someone asked, is Frogstoice the Skullcrawler replacement? Well, I can comment on this because you see, Frogstoice was a really interesting character to develop. He actually melted every computer we had in the office. Um, just the sheer power of him. Unfortunately, we couldn't fit him into the replacement category. He physically could not be put into it. So Frogstoice will be an entirely unique character. Um, Potentially the only character who can fight Kaiju Universe's greatest enemy, the that one guy we never say the name of. Um, let's see if we have another one here.
I've got an
Someone
interesting
asked
question here.
if we could release the soundtrack one day. That is, if I can find all the files that have been scattered throughout, I will definitely see about releasing it. I don't know about releasing it on Spotify or such, but we'll probably have it on YouTube as a combined thing.
So player asks, will the mech be the only kaiju coming out in the Rebirth update? So you'll actually notice in the roadmap it's called Rebirth Part 1. So this will be the very first replacement, but there will be Rebirth Parts 2 to 10 that will have all the other replacements in the following months, obviously interspersed between other updates. Someone
See a
asked,
question here. Oh,
hmm,
you want to take it first, or
I'll take this one and then I'll hand it over to you. Someone asked, are we getting Destroyer or MZ back? Well, that's a very interesting question. If you look at the top 10 list, you can see that they are in fact winners. And I can say pretty happily that they have designs, and you might be seeing them sooner than expected. Mr. Dice?
very well. Question here from Sin from Genesis. Considering we have a light cruiser, is it possible we could get a battleship later down the line as a sort of mini boss or full-blown boss
Ooh.
fight? Now, regarding this, all I'll say for now is that what you have seen for the military update is simply what we are currently planning. do realize in the future there is much more we'll probably have in store, not so much the near future. Um, so this is likely a possibility at some point. Yes.
Indeed, I believe it's just the tip of the iceberg with that. Someone named Char asks, "Will Frog's Choice release my parents?" No. Next question. Oh, here's one, Verret. Rena asks, "Are there any plans for changing up the Discord server? For example, fixing the robot?"
Um, in terms of changing up the Discord server, that would be more a question for Perfecti or Hamza, who are not here, unfortunately. In terms of the robot, that is something that broke because of other reasons, namely a change to Roblox's API. We'll probably fix that eventually. That is something that I have procrastinated on, if I have to be honest. But we'll look towards fixing that.
I see someone asked if we are going to be getting any more of the gladiatorial mechs. Well, I can't speak exactly on the gladiatorial themselves. I will say that there are several mechs on the way to satiate your hunger. We've heard your cries, and there are several very exciting things coming in that regard.
Someone asked if bosses are going to be functionally unique or if they're going to just be large and beefy kaiju. I would say a mix of both. There are some that are definitely unique, and you don't find them anywhere else. But there's also some that are going to definitely be much larger kaiju-ish. We are Kaiju Universe after all.
Got a question here. Will we be adding any more mammal kaijus? The answer I'd give this is that we have a variety. Interesting and very different looking kaijus that we've got coming up in the roster. All I can say is stay tuned. We've got it covered.
I see Tosks ask, "Do we use Monster Hunter as an inspiration for Kaiju Universe?" Excellent question. We have an unknowably large amount of inspirations we use for Kaiju Universe. More than just looking at other properties and the designs they use, I really do enjoy talking to artists about the other designs that other brands use and finding out really what makes those characters fun and interesting, and more so getting to the root of how a design works rather than just the literal physical similarities. Um, Monster Hunter does a very good thing with size and weight, and that's something that we've really noticed. We love the way their kaiju's move, or their large monsters, I should say, move, and it was definitely something that we took inspiration from on a few things.
All right, I should just note that we'll be wrapping up in a couple of minutes, so get in your last questions now.
Mr. Dice, here's one that you're perfectly good to answer. Will the gladiatorials have some sort of or be part of the Kaiju Universe military?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I suppose to answer that, it's going to be very difficult without giving too much away. Though I'd say that there is a relative amount of in game lore already that would serve to give a bit of an answer to that question. So I'd say go ahead, get in game, and see if you can find out how that may go on in the future.
Indeed. Oh, here's a good one for Jamal. Jamal, will you be the final boss with 1 million health? You heard it here first, folks. Next question. Will the bosses be able to give me levels? Yes, I believe you will be able to get rewards for fighting bosses. Perhaps significantly more. Verit, do you have anything to say on that?
I won't be speaking as to the specific rewards. There is between now and then going to be a number of um changes to the way rewards work. One of which is in the renew and reward update. Um, we want to. A lot of KU grinds are very linear and very boring, and we want to redo those. And boss fights will help play a role in that.
Someone asks, is a G19 rehash in development? I'm happy to say that that is one of the other 10 characters we announced, and at this time, he does have a design. I should say, for the most part, almost all 10 characters have designs that we're going to slowly start to tease in the next couple of weeks and months. Have no fear. If you're unsure about the replacements, just go into KU development. You can see the list there of the 10 that were voted in. We haven't forgotten about them, rest assured.
There were a number of questions regarding the anti-team system. This will be part of the renew and reward update. We'll be fixing that. However, I should note it can't be perfect. Part of what we're also going to be doing is making the default matchmaking in KU partially elo based, which will mean if your more experienced players will land with other more experienced players and newer players will be with newer players generally. Obviously, that won't be perfectly segmented.
I've got a question here from Molten. Is the map revamp slash redux that is coming going to implement any lore references or clues, or is that reserved for the new map? Regarding this question, I'm going to be extremely annoying partially and say, well, we're just going to
The
have to
answer
go
is
and
yeah.
find out. But yes, absolutely. We'll have hints, clues, more that you will and might see expanded the eventual new map. So stay tuned.
Let's see if we can take 3 more questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Are there any game modes in the work by Jolly Gulton? So this was one of the other questions that was asked in dev questions not too long ago. I think a while ago we did talk a lot about doing game modes, but something that we've been thinking a lot about now is how we can implement a dynamic map instead of going for just a separate game mode altogether. This will help with socialization, keep everything in one level. It also just gives the game world a lot more to do in it. And so that's definitely the way we'll be leaning toward moving forward. So opposed to having, let's say, a game mode for Kaiju Volleyball, we'd be more interested in maybe putting a volleyball court down, for example, if that clears that up. We think by doing this, it'll allow you to meet more people and have a more unique experience rather than trying to cram a bunch of people into a game mode they might not necessarily want to play.
All right. Well, the following question will be the last one, and then we will be heading out. Somebody asked.
Well, go ahead.
Do 2 questions. We'll let you get one off, Dice. Besides NPC raids, will we see other unique events happen in the game in the future? And the answer is definitely. NPCs as well as the map revamp are both going to let us do a lot more unique events. In the past, we've only really been able to do like King of the Hill. We've only been able to do like a number of very boring events, to be honest, that became very repetitive. So we hope that with the more additions that we can add, such as that, we can do a lot more interesting things of events. And Dice?
Oh, I don't have any other questions, particularly. So with that, and with our last question answered, that will be the end of our dev stream. Thank you all for joining us and listening in. One more time, just to go over all of the participants, like the thanks for being here in today's dev stream. We've got Dusty here. Dusty, of course, manager of our art department. Do you have anything you want to say?
Thank you all for joining us today and have a lovely evening.
We've got Jonathan, our assistant head developer. Jonathan, anything you want to say?
Hello.
We've got Jamal.
Yeah.
Yes. No, go ahead, John. Go ahead.
No, that's all. Went bad.
All right. We've got Jamal here, one of our awesome modelers. Jamal, anything you want me to narrate?
Such a way with words.
Truly. Please look forward to it. Wonderful words. And we've got Verit here, programmer, and of course, one of the owners of KU. Anything you want to say?
The sludge.
Thank you.
And with that, me, Dice, head developer, I would like to thank you all for joining. Good day, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. We'll see you soon. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.